This is the Indy Road, 100 shows. We are going to be on the road with independent professional wrestlers Jay Rue and Joshua Kavod. Now these two have lit it up all over the independent circuits here in southwestern Pennsylvania, wrestling for some of the largest independent wrestling organizations within the Pittsburgh region. One of them being the KSWA, the longest running promotion in Pittsburgh. But not only are we going to show you the large crowds and the glorious side of it, we're also going to show you behind the scenes what helps make shows happen and some of the things that do occur whilst out on the road. After all, independent professional wrestling isn't just about lacing them boots and getting in the ring. As some of us know, it's about paying dues. Dues that are well due. This is the Indy Road, and this is 100 shows on the road. This is episode number 2. And where, oh where, will the Indy Road lead us on Friday, October 1st? Well, actually, the road has us splitting the duo up, while Kavod and his wife Allie ready themselves for the hustle and bustle of pro wrestling shows. Jay Rue and his wife Kayla slow things down for a different kind of show.
Friday, October 1st. Show 7 in Indy Roads. UCW, Wicked Dreams. Put my No Limits title on the line tonight. But no Jay Rue on this trip. Let's go.
Jay Rue and his wife Kayla were setting up at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, a vendor show that showcased mostly video games, tabletop gaming, and of course, everything that is gamer geek and nerd chic. And it's definitely a different kind of show, but a show nonetheless. And on Friday, October 1st, they had to be there bright and early at the Monroeville Convention Center to go ahead and get things set up for the shows on October 2nd and 3rd. Now, the nice thing about the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo is this was Vintage Valley Games' first expo and first vendor show, and the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo made it a fantastic one. Definitely check it out if you ever get a chance. Meanwhile, over at UCW, Joshua Kavod, walked into one hell of a headache. Before his match, he had to run to the ring to save an individual that was, in a perilous situation, to say the least. His match later that evening is one that would definitely push his body and mind to the limit. But instead of me going on and on telling you about that match, I'm going to give him a moment to go ahead and tell you about the match himself. One thing that I can tell you though, whenever you're on the road, sometimes things happen that you don't anticipate. But you've always got to be quick, you've always got to be on your toes and ready to, sometimes help diffuse a situation before it gets out of hand. Sometimes those things come in the form of, could be anything. Could be a mascot, could be a child running across, leaping the barrier just to get a high five with his favorite wrestler. But the match, let's go ahead and hear from the man himself, Joshua Kavod.
UCW, Wicked Dreams. After the headache I started off the night with, I'm already running high on adrenaline. Now the boss tells me I have to defend my No Limits title. I'm all about pushing my limits. I've yet to find a limit that has held me back. So, with already being pumped up and ready to go, I think this is going to be a good night. Got the crowd into it and cheering hard. It's always my motivation for the night. So no matter who they stick in this ring with me, no matter who they put in my way, I'm going to give it everything I got until I have nothing left to give. And I can't forget to show off that beautiful belt, which I tend to do so often. I wonder, who's my challenger? none other than the man called Sinborn himself. I've wrestled with this guy across 3 states, in multiple different rings, in multiple different arenas. We've had everything from Lego death matches to singles matches and tag matches. There's nothing that me and this man haven't been through.
The fact that the two of these guys have been in the ring with each other many a times does not lighten their intensity at all. As a matter of fact, when you're in the ring with someone that you've been in the ring with many a times before, usually you end up taking it up a notch. You end up going a little harder, as you just saw right there. Not wanting to give an inch, not wanting to budge, making sure that he is able to get the job done. Joshua Kavod reaches deep down, slides out of the ring, and socks Sinborn right in the mush. That's one thing, folks. Like we said, whenever you're in the ring with somebody that's, well, your brother, you kind of hit harder each and every time. Let's see what happens, folks. Whenever he goes for the cover here, Sinborn barely gets the shoulder on up. Now, like they mentioned, these two have seen action in the ring many a times before. And here, another wrestler comes to the aid. O'Reilly Chambers comes to the aid of Sinborn here. And, well, it makes it where things don't exactly end up going in the favor of A1 Joshua Kavod. But he may have gotten the win and kept his title. But at what cost? At what cost, folks? And the thing is, he's got to go ahead, get in the car, and head on the road the very next day for another show for the KSWA in Coriopolis, Pennsylvania. The Keystone State Wrestling Alliance has been putting on great and amazing shows since the year 2000, and on October 2nd, show number 8 on the Indy Road, that is no different. They're coming to you live from the MJ Still City Saloon for another great fundraising event. Now, as Joshua Kavod got there, he took himself a moment to go ahead and walk around the ring and take it all in before the fans get there. This is something that a lot of wrestlers neglect to do from time to time. Just taking that brief moment where you just look around and realize what's about to happen. Also arriving early to the show, the Ram, Anthony Drake, and the Professional, Harley T. Morris. Now this is something that shows the level of professionalism these guys have, showing up well before doors, well before bell, because you never want to be the guy that shows up after the bell has rung for the first match. You always want to be there a little early, just in case you can help set up, just in case there's a change to the card. You want to be able to be on top of it, on top of your game. And also, just in case you might have forgotten a thing or two. Like maybe you forgot your tights on the back seat on the other side of the car. Whatever the reason, make sure that you're there early, which these 3 professionals do timelessly, each and every time. Let's throw the hanger back in there because we don't need that in the locker room. And let's go ahead and gather ourselves. Throw these in the gear bag, of course, because you don't want to just be carrying them in loose. But of course, you always want to make sure that you have everything in your gear bag. Now, as these guys go ahead and head their way onto the locker room, carrying their gear, carrying their merch, they approach the tent outside of MJ's Bar and Grill. I know a lot of people think that our locker rooms are glamorous and glorious with hot tubs and ice baths, but that's the thing of TV, folks. That's the things that are of movies, so to speak. Here on the indie circuit, this is our glitz. This is our glamour. On his way to the ring, he is peppered with an arraignment of boos. Joshua Kavod is normally cheered at the KSWA, but this is a fundraiser show. So that means it's a mix of the KSWA faithful and those there just to support this great cause being held by the KSWA. As you can see, as the consummate professional that he is, Joshua Kavod was able to get the crowd support behind him before even setting foot in the ring. When you get these fundraiser shows, folks, you never know what's going to happen. Now, as the action in the ring unfolds before you, you can see these two men are turning up the heat and getting the crowd hot, hot, hot. The other man in the ring? Well, that's Dennis Gregory. He's a veteran of the area, and in my opinion, he is probably one of the best in-ring technicians and in-ring personalities that the Pittsburgh region has seen in the better part of the last decade. The KSWA has a great way of merging their new talent in with seasoned veterans that they've had on their roster for a while. And as you can see here, the crossing of the high-flying and high-impact style of Joshua Kavod and the strength and just technical detail and attention to detail of, well, besides that hip gyration to the crowd, of Dennis Gregory definitely made for a great contest. KSWA in Coriopolis, Pennsylvania, on this night, wanted to make sure that they delivered the best product. And trust you me, they did. Now, when they put characters such as Joshua Kavod in there with Dennis Gregory, they're doing something that a lot of promotions in the area overlook. They take their newer talent, put it in there with their seasoned veterans, and allow both of the personalities to learn from the experience. That's one thing. In pro wrestling, we are always learning from our opponent, learning from the crowd, and in this case, learning from a powerbomb. And with that kick out, they keep the crowd hot and keep them on their feet, keep them clapping. Now, as entertainers, our job is one thing, to make sure that we send the fans home happy and wanting to come back for another one. And you know what they say, at the end of the day, a win is a win. But sometimes, even a loss can be a big win. It's all about perspective. And directly after the final match, everyone pours out of the locker room. Wrestlers, referees, announcers, security, and they all start to disassemble the ring, get it loaded up on the truck, and their thoughts are already on what to do during next week's show for the KSWA. And as a wrestler, as a worker, when you see this, you know that you're working with a company that is like a family. And I'm not saying that this is the only reason, but it's a big reason why companies like the KSWA have done so well and have been around for so long. Everyone pitches in, and everyone knows that no one part is more important than another. Whether it be the guy selling hot dogs, the guy taking tickets, or the guy taking bumps in the middle of the ring, each and every part is just as important as the next, and also as important as the previous. God, I love wrestling.
Alright guys, so here we are at the gym. I don't think we've seen any of this yet in Indy Roads. But this is what it takes to be a pro wrestler. You got to get up and, on the days whenever you're not wrestling, you're not feeling so hot, you got to get in the gym, work out, and make sure you're in shape. Or else it makes injuries a lot more possible.
This is the side of pro wrestling that people don't see. This is the side of pro wrestling that most people don't quite comprehend. You see, it's more than flashy moves. No matter what, you have to put in the work. You can have as many catchphrases as you want, but until you're willing to give up your time, to sacrifice, you're not going to make it. Being an independent pro wrestler, it's about doing what other people say you can't.
So, just got done with the gym. Got a good workout in. But after every good workout,
You gotta get your protein. You gotta get some food, some sustenance. Something to heal them muscles and recharge the body. Well, as you all know, Team Holy Shit is a really big fan of sheets. So that means sheets run.
Now on to the other duo, the other member of the duo, that we've been following here on the Indy Road. And they're setting foot into a different kind of show, a different kind of territory, something that is, well, new to them as well as new to their business, Vintage Valley Games. This is the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, and this is their first time going as a company and first time going as, well, going at all. There you can see Kayla with Vintage Valley Games as J. Rue's walking around with the camera. And as you can see, it is one of the larger gaming conventions. It's here in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And on October 2nd and 3rd, we are here doing what we do best, a vendor show. That means pushing the merch, but in a different kind of manner. That's right. You see, there's music, there's bands, there's vendor presentations, as well as game presentations. We were lucky enough to have Scott, the president of SFR, the company that makes Dragon Dice. He was there with us, and he is a veteran of these kind of shows, of these vendor shows. So he was able to help guide us whenever it came to questions and setup and, well, and overall. The one thing I will say that we learned is the gaming community is much like the wrestling community. Very tight-knit and willing to help whenever and wherever they can. Now, whilst walking around at PGX, we also had to go ahead and find a couple of vendors that we were going to purchase a few games from so that we could get footage for some of our other shows, such as Collector's Quest on YouTube. And here's a couple of the vendors we found.
Stop on by, check them out. Wild Card Video Games picked up a gem that I've been looking for my collection, for Collector's Quest. Make sure you come on out. You can find items that you're looking for your collection.
Being our first year at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, I can tell you, not only does this vendor show offer so much in the way of rare video games and rare collectibles that you probably will not see anywhere else, but some amazing opportunities, like Retro Gaming Asylum. Now, these guys did get a pretty little chunk of my money because I found so many awesome games that I was trying to add to my own personal collection over at their table. Also, they were, well, right across from us, so made it kind of easy.
All right, I'm here with Jason with
I could spend hours talking about all the awesome things that we saw and that we got to do at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, but you know what, just go ahead and give us a follow on all of the social medias with Vintage Valley Games and Gamer Got a Game over on Twitter, Facebook, and of course on the old YouTube, so that way you can get up to date on all of that. Speaking of other shows that the duo did, this is Vintage Valley Games' first ever Tuesday Terror Movie Review. The movie we decided to watch, WrestleMania.
Hi, I'm John. I'm down here at Vintage Valley Games Movie Night, happening every Tuesday. We just wrapped up finishing WrestleMania. To say that the movie was a weird one would be an understatement, but it was surprisingly good for how weird it was. A lot of the things I could say I saw coming, and a lot of them I kind of couldn't. It has Rey Mysterio, Sr., as one of the main characters. I still say the best moment is when you can see his silhouette standing at the end of the hallway. He looks like one of those mini action figures, just buff, and then no legs. But all in all, I agree, it was a great movie.
The movie starts off with some porn stars, so which, in my opinion, isn't something you should watch with the family.
Family-friendly film.
It is,
thumbs down.
It is not a family-friendly film, but it is.
It is if you have a horrible moral compass.
but it is thrilling. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. And by the way, FYI, we thought Rey Mysterio Sr. is actually Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yes, the entire time we were watching this movie.
Like, man, it doesn't look like him.
Both of us were looking for Rey Mysterio Jr. when clearly it says right there, Rey Mysterio at the top. We both thought Jr. We were incorrect.
Man, I thought he'd be taller.
Speaking of taller, like John mentioned, the silhouette scene in the doorway shows that somebody definitely worked upper body and left out leg day.
If you're a fan of...
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're a fan of leg day, you're not going to be a fan of the killer in this movie. But if you're a fan of fantastic movies starring pro wrestlers, WrestleManiac is one that definitely will top the charts. I still think this should have been a 5-star movie. It should have gotten an Academy Award for Best Movie Ever.
I think it's just a rip-off of Leatherface. It's great.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to be part of the action next week, bring $2 on down, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Who knows what we'll be watching then? As you can see, the Indy Road has a lot of twists and turns, and, well, unexpected intersections. Whether it be wrestling in a ring, doing a vendor show, or doing a review show. As you've seen, you might end up seeing us do a review show of one of the movies that are starring Joshua Kavod or J. Rue. You never know what's going to happen on the Indy Road. Thanks for watching episode number 2. And get ready, folks, because the road, well, it's about to get bumpy.